What you're about to listen to is pulled from a marketing mastermind call that we did several months ago inside of Hybrid Hub. The goal last January was to work through the marketing system inside the program live together so we could see how well these systems worked for specific members and how to fix the areas where they fell off. These snippets are hopefully valuable, but they don't show how amazing and funny and smart and supportive all the members of Hybrid Hub are. So if you're listening to this episode and you're like, oh my God, this is so amazing, this is a room I need to be in live, then book a free one-on-one call below so we can chat about if Hybrid Hub is the right fit to scale your photo video business this year. On to the episode. Hello, beautiful, gorgeous
Hello.
Hybrid Hubbers. Oh, Abby, your hair is down today? Wow.
It needs to be washed, but this is a lazy home day.
I mean,
Can't.
welcome to the club. You can literally see my dry
You
shampoo
curled your
today.
hair. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's when you know. If my hair looks disgusting, it's because it's just been washed. No, like the worst I ever look is after I shower.
Sorry.
Wow, you're all so hot. Okay, thanks for waiting for a second in the waiting room. I had to just restart my computer because she said absolutely not to Zoom today. And I was like, you know what? We're just gonna restart. We're gonna have patience. It's gonna be great. As I'm opening up my presentation today, here's what's on my mind. We've had a big week. I've asked a lot of you all. I've been very annoying about trying to push you forward in the program. And I just did a story about this, but here, what's actually on my mind is like you all are trying to do something really, really hard right now, right? We're in, for those of us in colder climates, especially, we are in booking season, right? So we are actively, our energy is like is very focused on trying to make more money, on trying to book more clients. We're like very in a space like of lack, right? So when we want something, when we're ambitious for something, there's also an energy of like wanting more, of like we need more, I don't have enough. And that can be like an overwhelming, weird energy to be in if you're not psychotic like me and are just like do through it. But with that, you're adding on a new skill at the same time, right? You're like trying something new while you're trying to make money with what you already do. That can be overwhelming. That's a big task I'm asking you to do. So, especially in these marketing meetings, I want you to remember that. I don't want you to leave behind the other phases, but I want to compel you to move forward with your marketing because it's in these seasons of overwhelm that we tend to fall off of our marketing um, and push it to the side because everything else seems more important. Fair enough? Okay. With that said, earlier in the week, we really focused on what makes us different and we focused on we focused on our offers, like we were looking at what we're selling and where we're selling it. And with those two things in mind, we focused on what our clients will be typing into search in order to find us, right? And so today's lesson is a little sexier, a little more exciting, but it's built on that foundation of searchability. I know how to make the most fun things boring, so we're going to jump right into it and do just that. I am using slides today, and I don't want you to think that means that when you catch up to this point in the program, you can skip this lesson because I still want you to do this lesson on your own time and go through the homework on your own time. But today we're going to slow it down a little and have you kind of mastermind these topics together and chat through it together and take some notes. So you'll do it the fun way with people, and then later you'll do it the boring way, seeing my dumbass in front of my blue background later. We are going right into short form content. And listen, it's a video course. I'm really gung-ho on video content marketing when you are engaging in short form marketing, meaning on the platforms that matter, which are Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, if you're like good at your job. I haven't touched Facebook in about 6 years. And we're going to be talking about, once again, SEO and searchable captions. If you were here on Wednesday, we got into this a little bit because I think like if you're not Gabby and the first strategic blog post you ever do doesn't make it to page one of Google, you might get like really down on yourself when long form content on your website doesn't work right away, right? And so I always like to tease this lesson in the long form lesson by showing you on Google those video search results and the short form video search results. We know just because we're humans who are on the internet that the way people are consuming content is typically that short form vertical video content, right? Like that's not a crazy thing I'm telling you. And so my proposition is that most people think about this content in a very egotistical way, a very me-centered way of like, I need to grow my followers, I need shares, I need likes, I need comments, because those feel really good. That's the sexy part of marketing. That's like the fun part. That's where we like tend to procrastinate when there's like other more helpful things we should be doing. So my thesis, my suggestion is that we start to think about the captions of these short form vertical videos in the exact same way that we're thinking about our blog and YouTube content. Meaning, if our clients are typing into search on any platform, is our content showing up? And that might lead to some embarrassing ego metrics, right? That might lead to some videos that get 7 to 200 views and no likes. And we might be thinking, wow, I'm really, really bad at social media. Is this even worth it? But if one of those views turns into $8,000 to $10,000, and you start seeing that this strategy of searchability in every single piece of content that you do. Once you start seeing that it works and it converts into dollars, it's you stop caring about being embarrassed. Fair enough? Yeah. Okay. So in this lesson, I want you to understand the different types of short form videos you should be making when you are doing social media. We'll talk about talking heads, so literally your head talking to the camera. I'm really gung ho on these, honestly, because it just goes along with searchable, valuable captions so well. You can literally green screen your face over your work and be like, hire me, and it works. Like I'm literally in the process of booking my second wedding for the week today based off of one of those dumb talking heads I did in November. Like it's so stupid. I'm so annoyed that it works so well because that means I have to do it more. We have aesthetic videos, which photographers are such absolute hoes for. And so I don't want to hear complaining about it. I feel like you can just do it. Like Gabby just spent 3 hours the other day doing one. I don't know why I'm hitting you so hard today, Gabby. I'm so sorry. Then we have trending videos, which I'm obsessed with. I love to consume. And when I say trending, I mean those meme videos. I mean trending sounds that you can do. I mean like really funny videos, just formats that people are doing that tend to go viral and get popular, right? They're easy to consume. And if you can make it fit your business, then you'll get in front of people with similar senses of humor as you, which is really exciting. Um, Trending is the one that I've historically been really, really bad at. So I actually just hired a youth to start to help me with that more in my business. And I'll be taking ownership of talking head and aesthetic. I want you to understand how to connect every short form video to SEO so your content actually gets discovered. I want you to write captions that lead people toward an inquiry, which really, I'm like, I'm really trying to trick you with the sexy stuff before that, but actually, literally all I care about is your caption. And if your caption sucks and it's not searchable and it's not a mini blog post, throw it out. Like, I don't want to see it. And want you to understand why pretty content doesn't convert on its own. And the spoiler alert to that is I actually think that most people's work looks the fucking same. So I don't really care if your content is pretty because everybody's content is pretty. So I want to get into a real workflow, and this is what we're going to hit hard next week. So I'd really, really love if you guys tried to show up next week. Even if you don't panic because literally when you get into phase 4, you have to do this anyway before going into phase 5. So I'm not like emergency worried about you, but I'm like urgency worried about you, where if you want to start getting into this and being more consistent, next week is where we're like hitting it hard with gusto. But just a preview of what that looks like on a monthly level. There's two things I want on that monthly level. I want your long form batched. So most of you committed to 1 to 2 blog posts a month. I want that batched every month. Probably the next day, I would like you to batch all of your captions, which shouldn't take you that long. Honestly, when I was doing social club when Devin and I were doing social club, and we were doing like actual monthly batching sessions, most people would be done with their whole month within that co-working call. And as you know, these are an hour long. So there's really no excuses. There's just like, let's fucking do it. And then on the weekly level is when I would suggest batching creative. And what I mean by creative is the literal video or photo, the media that's going along with the caption. So notice I'm very caption first, then on the weekly level, we'll batch all the creative for the week so it's ready to post. On that daily level, I'm a manual poster. I don't care if you schedule, but you'll notice in all my systems, it includes manual posting. On the daily level, I'd love you engaging in the DMs and I'd love you posting stories. So just knowing the function of each step of this process and how we're systemizing it. All the system is a checklist that you're able to repeat over and over again to get the result that you want. And on a system level, just knowing what you're doing monthly, weekly, daily, and us all doing it together is going to help you so much. And it's going to help me so much because this is what I need accountability for too. Why we start with captions. If you don't know already, most photographers batch content backwards and they rely on video ideas, which I don't hate. Like I'm not going to yuck your yum, but don't prioritize creative, like funny, trendy videos or being aesthetic to the point where you act like captions don't matter because your visuals aren't the thing that helps you rank. It doesn't build your authority beyond people just seeing that your work is great. We've already established that your work is great. And the visuals don't convert clients on their own. The client needs to, there's so many photographers in the world where I'm like, your work is dope, but I would never hire you in a million trillion bajillion years because you're weird to talk to. And I feel like you would just be silent the whole time during a session. So like I am always looking for personality over absolutely anything when I hire photographers, and I hire a ton of photographers. The caption is the strategy, your SEO, your hook, your value, and your call to action. And you'll notice when we get further in this process, I've even systemized how you craft this caption to make this as quick and efficient as possible. When you write your captions first, every video supports the keywords you want discovered. I know you guys, I know whenever I say keyword, you are like, that's so nerdy. That's so technical. I'm so scared. All I mean is what your clients are typing into that search bar. That's all I mean by keywords. Like literally, if like for the entire month of January, the entire month of February and March, if you decided the only keyword you're targeting is how to elope in this location, I'm happy with that. Let's not make this more complicated than it needs to be. Your videos can then become vehicles for your message and not random trends. So start with the caption, then figure out the video. Easy enough. Could have literally just said that for this entire slide. How to batch great captions quickly. Okay, and here's where the interactive part of today is going to come in. And when you actually get to this lesson for your refresher and you do your worksheet, that's what you're going to do on your own time. But the reason I want to hammer this home so intensely today is that when we get into batching later, this is going to be the part that a lot of students fall off on when they're left to their own devices because it just feels so scary. A lot of you will freeze because you don't know what to include or how to structure the caption. I want to make this the actual structure of your caption so stupid, simple, and easy that like your brain just starts working like that. That like it takes you no time at all to write a caption. And frankly, once you fill out your phase 4 lesson 1 worksheet, when you know your offer, your clients, your differentiators, and your keywords, and I've said this before, but seeing like you guys work through this worksheet earlier in the week, what really actually got me excited for content creation was you started listing out pain-based searches that your clients might be doing. So like any questions or pain points they have are gold for SEO optimized captions. I want those answers in that worksheet, your offer, your client, your what makes you different in your keywords. I want them organized into this formula. Your hook, which like a hook is anything that makes the person the video is for just stop. So like if I were to say, hey, are you a film photographer and Super 8 videographer based in Austin, Texas, and you're trying to scale your business, who would stop on that video?
Sorry, who would stop on saying
Like
if
if I made that video, would you stop?
yes?
So that's a great hook, right? That's all I needed you for, Gabby. You're who I'm picking on today. So your hook is literally just what's going to make the exact right person for you and your offer stop. And then a valuable caption. I had someone put, Emily, possibly. You were like, no, I think it was Tiffany. It was like, I don't want to be an educator. So like, I don't know what you mean by educational content. No, I'm not asking you to be like a lame, weird substitute teacher vibes and be like, step one, step two, step three, step four. That's a great, easy format. But if it's not your voice, don't do it. All I mean by value is like, how are you leading them toward the problem they're trying to solve or the decision they're trying to make? That is value. So if I said, are you a film photographer and Super 8 videographer in Austin, Texas, and you're trying to scale your business? My valuable caption would be, you like, here's the first thing I would do in order to start getting more bookings in your area. I would really I would prioritize searchability. And if we're doing 3 steps, then I'd prioritize planner relationships with planners who are more high end in that area, who are probably looking for more film photography, videography. And then I would get my website ready for more traffic with ads. Those are the first 3 things I would do. And if you're reading that, that makes you trust me more as an authority for doing the thing I said you specifically could do in the hook. And then my call to action for me is usually comment a word because I have a robot set up to send them where I want them to go. For you, if you don't want to pay for the robot, it's probably DM me to chat more about this. Or if you do have them comment a word, you're not so important and busy that you can't click into them and manually DM them on your own. If where you want them to go is your website, the link in my bio to get this, this, or this. And the call to action, typically, when you have your main goal for that month, can be the same for every single caption. So typically, when I'm having you batch your captions, we're starting with that call to action. When I say call to action or CTA, it's always where do I want this person to go next? There should never be any confusion on the reader's part about what you want them to do next. People love being told what to do, especially if you're talking directly to them, and especially if in that caption you're telling them why they should do what you want them to do. When you follow this formula, captions stop being overwhelming and start being fast, repeatable, and strategic. Let me see what the next slide is, but I'm guessing this is where we're going to break off and do 10 minutes of journaling. No, yeah, okay, let's go through this. The first thing I'm going to have you do is write your call to action. And if you're thinking here and you're like, well, I have a few calls to action, some of you might be like, oh, I'd like them to DM me. Some of you might say, oh, I'd like them to click the link in my bio to inquire or to like view a blog post or something. You can have 1 or 2. I'd be more impressed if you had 1, probably to start. I want you to tell the reader exactly what to do next and why. Here are some examples. I keep like hemming and hawing on what I want you to do, but actually I want to start here. So I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes because I know some of us are slow typers and I stress you out with how fast I go. But write a call to action that you're going to really focus on for the next month, and we're going to share them. Ready, set, go. All right, friends. So hopefully you have a strong call to action that you're really focusing on for your content this next month and beyond. I don't really change my call to action. Sit. So if we're always starting with our call to action, we always know where the caption is ending. Fair enough. Then batching hooks is usually what I do before I write any body content. The hook is where most people get stuck. And this can feel like really daunting and really important and really scary. But as you saw earlier, if you're just thinking about the most specific person in the entire world and just calling them out, that can be your hook. And then you can modify it later. So say your hook is an Emily or a Rachel that's like, if you, hey, are you thinking about getting married in Colorado for like a super laid back fun day captured by someone who gives a shit about you? That's more my voice than either of your voices, sorry. Then that can be your hook for probably a few times a week or a few times a day if you want. It doesn't really matter if you reuse hooks as long as you're like talking directly to your person. But the way you modify these hooks is you start with that main person you're talking to, and then you can modify it like just speaking directly to that person with that location still in mind. Like Are you looking for the perfect venue for your Colorado elopement? Are you thinking about whether or not you want to add video for your Colorado elopement day? So it's just like modifying these hooks, talking directly to a specific person in a specific location that you want to rank in their search for with like you can get spicier with like solving a problem or putting an offer in front of them that they might be looking for. So I talked about this a little earlier with those pain-based searches, and this is a perfect place to implement those because pain and like a lack of clarity is so easy to speak to, meaning a lack of clarity on the client's part. So if they're like actively searching, oh my gosh, I was acting like I was trying to think of Colorado wedding things, and that was my actual example in the slide. That's so funny. So basically, we want to clearly call out our ideal client in these hooks. We want it to be searchable, specific, and written for the exact client you want to book. So this can be a one-liner, it can be 2 lines if you can't figure out how to condense it. But what I would love to do is set another 5-minute timer and have you guys just try to write as many as you can. Just like we did this for blog topics the other day. And you'll see at the end that like once you get going and once you stop overthinking it, you can come up with a ton at once. Okay, so 5 minutes, and I just want as many as you possibly can do. Ready, set, go. All right. Okay, so I know that kind of feels like chicken with your head cut off when you're trying to write as fast as possible, but you know your people, right? You know what, if you were in their shoes, what they might be wondering about this process. You know what you offer and why you're the best person to offer it. And all of these things can be prompts for when you're trying to write a strong hook that just calls out that person and what they want, where they want it so specifically. So we're wanting searchable, specific, written for the exact client you want to book. And I want to use these 15 minutes wisely, but I'm going to talk about robots for a second. I made you use your little human brain here for 5 minutes, and you came up with so many, right? And this is the type of pre-work that makes AI work better when you decide to use it as a tool. So if you're just like putting into ChatGPT or another tool, like write me 30 captions for the next 2 months, you're going to get a bunch of bullshit. Or write me 30 hooks for the next 2 months, you're going to get a bunch of bullshit. When you do this pre-work, when you do the work of understanding your client's pain points, what they want, what they're searching, the location they're searching for, your personality, what makes you different, your language, and then an example sample to also plug in when you ask for those 30 hooks and you're not asking for hooks, captions at the same time, just 30 hooks, then you can do this process so much faster in your actual voice. So I believe I did include my old cheat sheet in this lesson when you get to it, but like because you're here, because you're practicing this, because you're seeing how fast you can do this with your own human brain, then implement this if you decide to use AI tools. And always start with the hooks. We're not making it do a bunch of things at once. When you like sit down to batch your hooks, input all of this information and make sure it sounds like you and is extremely searchable. And tell it off. Tell your robot tool off if it's not doing these things. If it spits out a bunch of hooks that don't have your location in it, you need to say, I need the location in every single hook, and needs to speak to these pain points in 10 of the hooks. Be really specific, keep these rules in mind, and don't be lazy because lazy is not going to win in 2026 and beyond because everyone's putting out AI slop and it's ridiculous and clients can tell. Okay. We're just going to talk about the body. I'm not going to make you journal through it today so we can get to some Q&A, but the body of the caption should be so obvious if you're doing your job with these hooks. If you're promising 5 of the best cabin VRBOs in Colorado for an elopement, then that's what you deliver in the body of the caption. Teach something useful and show why you are the best fit for this client with practical expertise and not fluff. If I were to call out Gabby in my hook and say, if you are a film photographer and Super 8 videographer in Austin, Texas, wanting to scale, read this caption. And then the caption is like, you're beautiful. You should join my program. Have a great day. Like she's she's gonna be fucking annoyed by that. Like there's no promise that's fulfilled after she's excited by that hook and then reads the caption. So if I were to like teach Gabby something in that caption after calling her out, she's more likely to do what I'm asking her to do in the call to action, which is DM me to learn more about how I can help you scale your business, or comment this word to get a free starter kit for selling video in your photo business. Like it's way more likely she does what I'm telling her to do if the body helps her in some way without any expectation. So list the top venues, explain why you know them well. I keep thinking of these examples in real time when I could just read my fucking slide. Most photographers give vibes instead of expertise. And what I mean by that is like I was doing these brand vaults for Black Friday, like for 5 of you, where you all had to like fill out this big questionnaire so I could suss out what your voice should be in your content and in your copy. And so I was kind of perusing through a bunch of photographers' Instagrams and what you're actually saying in your captions, and it didn't match up with the vibes and with their voice that they're wanting to give for most of them. So like anybody can spit out once again a caption from ChatGPT that's like super vague and just like a bunch of noise and a waste of time for somebody to read. Or you can spit out something that's really helpful, but it's robotic and it's not your actual personality. Don't be like one or the other. Don't be like the educational robot or the person that's just like, I'm so fun and so happy and so excited to be here. Just you need to do both. So like educate and position your offer. Your offering being you and your personality and the level of service you provide. Does that make sense? And I know you can do this. I know the body can be scary, but you're just fulfilling the promise of the hook. And it doesn't have to be super long, but I would say like think of it as being like a mini tiny little blog post. Because you want to show up in search. With that said, like I want to hear all of your questions, comments, concerns. I do want you batching this every month when we do get to the system. So if you decided that you want to post 3 times per week, that's 3 times 4, that's 12 captions you need to batch. That sounds like a lot of work, but you have already proven you can bust most of this out in just a few minutes at a time. So if I'm asking you to do 12, to know your call to action, so it's the same for all 12, probably, do 12 hooks and then 12 bodies, like that's a 1 day a month task. And as you get better and better, it might even stretch into more. Define the path you want your potential clients to take after reading each caption. Batch your hooks first, then batch the captions and do it every month. Stay focused on what you want to rank and search for. And you're also staying focused on your big boy offer that you're trying to sell, because these should all be targeting the people that would buy those big boy offers.
And that is it for today, friend. Be sure to leave a review and screenshot that review and send it to me at Hybrid Hangout. I'd also love to see the episodes you're loving in your stories so I can share and say hey and thanks for listening. Basically, I just want to be friends. I will see you soon.
Beautiful, gorgeous, perfect raccoon with a camera. Let's hang out.